So we're doing Book of Boba Fett, episode 5. And they didn't even wait. This one was titled "The Return of the Mandalorian."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no spoilers and everything, like right off the bat, like, hey, this is the title of this episode. So
it was so funny though. It was it was like an episode of the Mandalorian. It was straight like we've been watching the Mandalorian the entire time, and they didn't say anything else. They just said, here he is from the beginning. No one else, just Mando. I was like, really? Book of Boba Fett. Who?
Yeah, legit. What did you think about it, Martin?
I thought it was a good like twist coming in. Like, I mean, because last week we were talking about timelines, right? So it kind of like, I'm still kind of confused on some of it a little bit, but the whole Mando thing, like bringing it in, I thought it was good though, honestly, because episode 5 comes out tomorrow or tonight. Did you see it already?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I'm kind of missing out. So I should have not jumped on tonight because I thought we were going to talk about episode 4. My bad. But
you haven't seen episode 5 yet?
No, but it's fine. I'm all in for it because I'm going to watch it right after this, anyways.
Okay.
I just had to make a comment though, because like on the last 4, like I wanted to say this last week when I was on, when they brought in what was the fire what?
The fire spray.
Yeah, the fire spray. When they brought that on, and I don't know if you guys played Battlefront at all.
Yep.
I tell you that brought back so many memories about like just playing with that specific ship. It changed like the whole game. Like I was playing dogfight mode the whole time with the slave. It was the coolest thing ever. So I mean, I miscounted. I think we were doing episode 4, but it's fine. We'll stick out episode 5. As a matter of fact, I'll probably just jump off in the middle of this.
I was like, I feel bad. Like,
no, I'll probably. But I did want to say that at least that's part. So,
well, we can change it. You want to do? We can talk about Peacemaker.
Go ahead.
First.
No, go ahead. Full gun.
You sure?
Spoil it for me, dog. Spoil it for me.
I mean,
I'm gonna enjoy it.
Honestly, like what Bryan said, it wasn't a Book of Boba episode. It was a Mandalorian episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that was it. I mean there really wasn't anything too spoilery. I think. I mean you already know he's got the dark saber. You already know he's got the spear, and Grogu's not there. I mean that's all you need, and he doesn't have a ship. Yeah, so I mean that's episode 5. That's episode 5. Like in a nutshell. It was all Mandalorian. They said Boba Fett's name one time and never even showed him. So you didn't miss anything in the story, and I'm pretty sure, which also is weird. I mean, right off the bat was like, I knew they were going to bring Boba or a man. We kept calling him Mandalorian, but Din Djarin, that's his name, Din Djarin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to bring Din in because at the end of episode 4 they play his music. So I'm like, oh well, there you go. Yeah, the little space western, cowboy music. But I didn't expect him to be like the only thing going on. Well, but I don't know. Well, so what did you think?
It was interesting though. It was good. I don't want to, give off this vibe that I didn't like it. I did like it. I just don't think it's a Book of Boba Fett episode. It was just a regular Mandalorian episode. But very entertaining. The darksaber is awesome. Splitting people in half. It's obviously he doesn't know how to use it yet. He knows what it does, but it's hard for him to use it, and he's fighting against it. His mind is also somewhere else. He's not really focused on what's the task at hand. And that's one thing about the Mandalorian. I mean, about Din Djarin himself is he's focused. He has a singular purpose. He's doing one thing, and that's what he's about. And that was not the case as much of this episode. It was showing that he's kind of fractured. He's not even necessarily a Mandalorian right now, because as we saw in the end of last season, he showed his face. He took off his helmet. So he needs to kind of redeem himself in the old ways. And I think that along with Grogu, along with this dark saber, and what's said about the dark saber. You're the one that's going to lead all Mandalorians to basically back home. You're going to undo all the bad stuff that happened. The was it the Day of Tears or whatever. Like you're going to undo all of that, and I think it's such a big burden for him not to be focused on it. And I thought that was interesting in the episode too.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I liked about it was so at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, we find out Bo-Katan, who just bashed Din Djarin for like, oh, you don't take off your helmet? Oh, you're one of those silly Mandalorians that believe in the old shit. And then like at the end of the episode, she's like, oh, I can't take that. Like the old rules say I have to fight you for it. And people are like, well, what are you doing? They kind of explain it a little bit more, because did you watch or did both of you guys watch Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, animated show?
During the clones, yeah.
Yeah. The the Clone Wars,
it was the animated ones, right? It was similar to it.
One of them.
Own thing.
Yeah. So it was Clone Wars, and then Rebels was set after the Empire. Yeah, it's a little bit more recent. Yeah. Freddie Prinze Jr. is one of the voices in it, so that's pretty cool. Ahsoka is a big character in it. But it was already kind of after like Ahsoka and Vader fight, which was fucking awesome. In it. So I mean, if you haven't watched Rebels, it was so good. But in Rebels, she's given Bo-Katan was given the dark saber, and that was the last time we saw it until Mandalorian. But now you find out like, oh, if somebody's just given the saber, then everything goes to shit, and the planet dies because the ruler didn't control. So it kind of tied in like loose ends, and like she doesn't want to take it again because she doesn't want to screw over her people like she did the first time. And
she knows all the consequences to trying to take something that you didn't win in battle.
Yeah. So I think like because Bo-Katan's gonna get her own show. They already announced it. Katie Sackhoff kind of spoiled it a little bit. She posted something, and then people were like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting my own show," which is awesome because I love Katie Sackhoff. So, and then even like Rosario Dawson's supposed to, Ahsoka's supposed to have her own show. Bo-Katan's gonna have her own show. I mean, it's gonna be a really cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, just the whole episode was just Din Djarin, like doing Din Djarin shit. There really wasn't any like a lot of Easter. There wasn't really any Easter eggs.
Well, it was interesting, learning how other Mandalorians look at Bo-Katan. How they look down on her, and they don't even consider her even part of them anymore at all. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, I mean, not just that you don't follow the ways, you're not one that follows the old ways, but like, they just look down on her, like, yeah, she just whatever.
They're like she's the one that ruined us,
ruined everything. And it's just that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of explains on why the old school people like Din and the Armorer and a lot of the ones that you saw in season 1 in their little dungeon area, like why they are so old school, like hardcore old school, because there was the new school Mandalorians, which we saw in Clone Wars, that kind of they believe ruined Mandalorian. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting about all these Mandalorians, what's going forward. Not just Mando, but all of the Mandalorians.
And eventually this giant war that we're all going towards, that everyone sees coming. It's like a Mack truck coming straight ahead, and you see it coming, but everything's going to merge to one lane, and we're gonna have a big war. And I think that's gonna be really cool.
That'd be cool. But yeah, man, I was just trying to think of like it was cool, but it wasn't a Book of Boba episode. It just that was the only kind of.
Have you listened to other fans? Other people have been saying they love this episode. This is the best episode of the entire show. The timing of it made more sense. It wasn't slow. It was kind of the pace made sense in the show. And I
Mhm.
think it's because it was a Mandalorian episode. It made sense because it went back to that same pace of what you're used to seeing from the Mandalorian. Book of
Yeah.
Boba has not really identified a specific pace because so much of it is flashback.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Think episode 5 to include Mando, but also to have more Boba Fett to have to kind of merge these guys. I thought that would be
Mhm.
really good to start to make Boba Fett today more important. Show more about what
Mhm.
this war is coming. I mean, because if this is going to be a big war, why are we going to only get one episode of it? That's why I was going to say that this. Hopefully, it's going to be a second episode because it just doesn't make sense to get one episode. All this is building to this, and in 30 minutes you're going to resolve it all.
Mhm. I'm getting very Game of Thrones kind of vibes. Like
Yes.
they set up like 6 seasons of like, oh, it's gonna be this guy versus this guy. It's like they're gonna fight, and then like it winds up being one episode and not even the last episode. And I'm like, wait, you've been telling me for 6 years, that it's gonna be this epic battle between the White Walkers and the dragons, and that was lame as shit. And then it becomes a political thing at the end. I was like, come on. And that's what this is going to be. It's like in episode 4, they set up the beginning of this big battle on Tatooine. And then episode 5 is just a random story. And then now I just got one episode to finish a story.
Yeah, just
It's, I
you
don't
know, it's so funny. We were talking about this before. I really thought that they're gonna like hire all these Mandalorians or all these bounty hunters to start to kind of come with Boba Fett so he can build his own army, and they spent a whole episode on one guy. He has a lot of money that they kind of said, hey, if you have money, we can get these guys, and they spent the entire episode on one person. Just didn't make any sense. And I was disappointed in that. They could have done more. They could have done better.
Yeah. I mean, I loved the episode. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but it was in the wrong place. Like, I feel like this should have happened like before season 3, because really this is like the Mandalorian season 3 episode 0. It's like a prelude to season 3, which I'm like, I'm all for, but now you're sacrificing another story to tell his story, and that was the upsetting part of it.
And I thought it'd be great if they could just made an hour-long episode, and we could have had half the time we got Jen focused on him, and then the second half how he connects with Boba Fett and how he's also calling other assassins to him, it makes make more sense how he's gearing up for this war. So in this last episode, they have to get ready, explain where he's been doing for all this time, get ready for the war, and have the war in one episode. That's a lot.
Yeah, and you're not even talking about post-war. Like, it's just like, oh, he wins or loses, and then that's it. And then you don't know what happens after that. And I was just like, it's, I don't know. I really don't know what Jon Favreau is thinking. Like, I know he has a plan. At least I hope he has a plan. So far, so good. With everything else, but I just don't know where he's going with it. I really, really don't. I mean, honestly, I didn't know where he was going to go with Book of Boba in general. So I'm like, and then it was like 4 episodes of flashbacks, and then once they said the flashbacks are over because he's fully healed, then it goes to a whole nother story. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I'm like really upset about it, because I was like, I was digging the Book of Boba, it's just, I don't know. They placed another story in this, and it's just,
And once
but also seems like I love this
add
episode.
another episode. Do something else. If you're going to do that, add another episode. Do something to make this still about Boba Fett. This this episode. We only get 6. Do something else.
Yeah.
And
If it was a 10 episode series, I wouldn't be so upset. I'm like, cool, episode 5 right in the middle. You figure this out, and then you bring them in and you have them, team up with Boba Fett, stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah,
one episode left, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's also a rumor that there's going to be a 7th episode, like a secret 7th episode. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a lot of people being wishful thinking, but I mean, right now I'm still counting like there's just one episode left, and I don't know. That's a lot of story they got to tell. Yeah. A lot of story.
But once again, the episode was great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, him building a new ship. I mean, learning how to fight with the dark saber. Another guy trying to battle him for the dark saber and getting his butt whooped. All that was pretty awesome. I mean, that was something that you enjoyed watching. It was a good episode of The Mandalorian. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so how would you rate?
Yeah. I would say it's a now, because it was definitely it was super fun. And I mean, right off the bat, it was also Bryce Dallas Howard directed it. So, you brought a director who did Mandalorian season 1 and 2, come in and do a random Mandalorian episode. So it definitely felt like a Mandalorian episode, and the pacing, the action, the story, everything was amazing. It was legit amazing in the Mando story. Just wrong story.
Does that kind of condemn the whole Book of Boba Fett right now, though? Because Mando was able to come in one episode and change the entire story, an entire focus. And honestly, I'm thinking more about what is he about to go do before the battle than what was Boba Fett doing to get ready for the battle. We were talking about earlier. We were talking about like, hey, so is he going to go see Grogu? Is he going to take the armor to go see get Grogu some of the armor? Like that was my focus at that episode, not about what about this war that we've been setting up for the last 4 episodes. And I mean, 1 episode gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it made you forget about the last 4 episodes, which I don't know if that's what another episode in the season is supposed to do. I don't think you're supposed to like forget the story, because I think that's what they did a little bit, But I mean, I loved it. One thing I couldn't figure out was the thing around his neck, the little cape thing. Was that a Grogu like blanket?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like something that he had him.
Yeah, right.
He's carrying it with him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think this episode definitely sets up season 3 of The Mandalorian. Because the first 2 seasons was him finding where Grogu belongs, and then I think the next season is going to be finding Grogu now. So but I think it's going to go with some cool places, because I imagine like he meets Grogu and Grogu's like, "Oh, you got a lightsaber? Me too. Let's train together." Like, because I mean, where else is he going to learn how to wield a lightsaber if not from Luke freaking Skywalker?
Yeah. So that's so key, and I think they knew they had to answer these questions, and that's why this episode was placed in here. They had to answer for the next season of the Mandalorian. So they had to answer these questions. That how did he get there? All these they just took this episode and just said, whatever, forget Boba Fett. We're gonna answer the questions about the Mandalorian, and we'll, then we'll be there, and we'll be all right.
Yeah. So, but what about you? How would you rank it?
It's still now, because it still is a really good episode. I mean, it's not something you want to see later. All it does is kind of tease you a little bit. What your taste buds. You like you wet your whistle a little bit. You're like, oh man, I'm ready to get some more, and then you realize you gotta wait.
Yeah, it's just a big old tease. When you think about it, it's like, oh, here's the little shiny guy that you like. Oh, but you're not going to see him until the end of the year. I was like, you sons of like, can't do that to me. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, not that many Easter eggs. His new ship. I mean, it definitely is setting up him to find Grogu. I mean, his new ship has a little Grogu pit in the back.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that was made for the the astromech. Like a B, not BB, like a R2D2. But yeah,
That was my only question. Like, what, you don't have an inside of the ship either. You know, like, you have nowhere to sleep. You have nowhere. This is more. It's a fighter jet more than anything. I thought
yeah,
that he would want something a little bit more comfy inside because he is going to want to have Grogu by his side.
yeah, yeah. Like the Razor Crest was more of like a RV, and now
Exactly.
this one he's got a sports car. I was like, that's a big difference, dude. Yeah, yeah. So
No, it's still
yeah,
but now it's still a really good episode. It's just not of Boba Fett. That's all. Only
yeah.
complaint.
I agree. I wanted to see. I wanted to see this man. It just sucks. It's like, oh, he's fully healed. No more flashbacks, and we're not going to see him. What the heck?
He's so healed. You're not going to see him the entire episode. Fooled you. That's what it was.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I don't know. Anything else?
I'm excited to see next week, but I don't know how they're going to finish it all.
Yeah, I'm excited and worried.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, very excited, but worried that I might be disappointed. Yeah, like I'm really, really preparing myself for disappointment.
This is a big episode because this can make or break the entire series. Episode 6 going to make or break everything. So they better come hard.
Yeah. I mean, it might be just a one and done. I mean, what if the end of this one is no more Book of Boba because now Boba and Mandalorian are together? So I can see some
a whole setup. This whole thing was a setup for how it goes
for season 3.
That could be it.
Could be. Although I think they have very different goals now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Finn has one goal. Grogu.
Yeah, nothing else. Nothing else. I don't know. That's it. I don't know what happened to Martin. I know he said he didn't watch this episode, so I felt bad. But honestly, it really wasn't that many spoilers. Nothing spoilery.
Nothing for Boba Fett. Nothing.
Yeah. It's just like Mando was here and he did Mando stuff. I mean, that's the whole episode in a nutshell. I mean,
yeah. Good call.
So I mean, there was a little things but yeah, nothing major. But that's it for episode 5 of Boba Fett. So next week we'll finish up the series with episode 6. I know Martin said he'll be on, him and his wife Sandy probably be on talking about it. And then hopefully we get maybe Will jump on and we'll do some Boba Fett and stuff. Have a nice big finale episode.
Exactly. See, different opinions to see where everyone thinks about the entire series as a whole, because now we'll have a full thing. You can look at all the episodes as a whole, and is it good or bad? An hour later, or is it? It's not gonna be a never, but it'll be a later. We'll see.
Yeah. I think at worst, it will be a later.